Hello everybody, this is Manuel at Manuel Martel Photography. Today I would like to talk about Pictorial. Pictorial is an all-in-one editing software. You can use it as a standalone application or with Mac Photos. And Pictorial is only available for Mac user at this time. I've been asked to give it a good test run and do a review. So here it is. I just want to go ahead, show you what you can do with Pictorial, and I'll tell you the point that I really love about this editing software, because there's a lot of cool features, and this will please anyone working in Mac Photos. So we're going to go ahead and press the edit and go to the extensions, and this will bring us into Pictorial. So this is what you'll see once you use the Pictorial as a plugin for Mac Photos. A few things I really like about this software, and the number one is how easy and neat and organized everything is. You don't have to juggle between windows or tabs or anything like that so much. All you find here is your image, 4 different options, 4 different tabs, and that's it. So let's go take a look at the presets. So there's a lot of cool presets that are already in Pictorial, so you can choose one of those, or you can create your own as well. The adjust panel, then you'll find all your tools in here that we'll cover in a few seconds here. The information panel, now I already worked and edited this image into Pictorial, so the information is very limited of what you can see here. Usually this is where you would find the metadata, so which camera you used, the lenses, the date, and so forth. And then you have the history panel. Now we don't have much else than opening this image, but once we start playing with it, then things will add up here, and this is where you can revert back and forth into the history of your editing. Okay, so first come first, let's cover a few things before we go to the tools. I want to show you how much you can zoom in. So you can zoom all the way to 1600%, which bring you to the pixels. If you hold the command key and left click, you can actually drag your image and move around. If you press spacebar, it will zoom to fit your image. So if you press spacebar back again, you're back to your zoom. Command and minus will zoom you out of there. Okay, you have the before and after button here, and if you press on this, you can see the before. So that's the original image, the raw image that I started with, and this is what I ended up after I edited it in Pictorial. So if you guys are curious to see how I've done that, or just to learn a little bit about my workflow and how it could be applied to Pictorial, then if you go to the end of this video, there will be a link to this editing tutorial about this image. Okay, and after that we do have all of our tools here. So if you press on the icon on the tool, it will open a drop panel if you want, and in there you'll find all of the options that the tool have to offer. If you press back, it will turn off. So one good thing about Pictorial, there is a lot of depth into those tools. So we have the basics, so if you want to go around and mess around with the image, you can do that with the crop factor, or you can rotate easily by using these arrows. But again, the aspect, very good, lots of depth in there. You can even find Facebook cover ratios. So that's pretty cool. If you're not too sure about the right size for your Facebook cover, well, you just choose this and you're good to go. So it's a great feature. I'm sure it's going to please a lot of people. So once you do some changes into those tools, you'll find a little arrow there to reset or to turn it on and off. So you press this here, it will bring it on and off. And if you want to, you can press this one and it will erase everything you've done with this tool. Now let's go quickly to the history. So you see now we've done a few changes, and already we can go back and forth in time to what we've done before. So the last one, or the first one on the list, is the last thing you just did. Okay, then we do have the light panel. In there is your basic to edit a photo. So if you want to change the temperature, make it super cool or super warm, you can do that as well. If you're not too sure, if you don't like that, and you want to go back to the middle and stuff like juggling around, trying to find where you were at first, double click anywhere on that line or the name, and it will revert the slider back to the original placement. Another great thing about Pictorial is it is a good software in a way that you're going to use the slider like this, back and forth, and then it is fast. You'll see the change as you slide. So this is a great feature for me. Some software are not responding that quick. The way I love to edit is I'll choose a slider and I'll go back and forth until I really find the sweet spot. So that's just how I work. So this is a great feature for me. Okay, the color. Now you have the basics, the saturation. If you want to saturate, desaturate, make it black and white, you can do it that way. The vibrance. And now one cool feature here that you don't find on every software, once again, that Pictorial added, this is a must in my opinion, is this. So if you press on any of the hue, saturation, or luminance, all the colors are added here. So you can choose if you want to change the saturation only of the red color in your image. So if I want that red to disappear, I can bring it all the way down. Or if I would like to change the luminance of that red color to make it brighter or darker, I can do that too. So if you want to only keep the red as a color and make everything black and white, you go to the saturation, you keep the red there, and then everything you put it to the white, so every other color will disappear. This is how you would do that. Okay, if you press back on the function which is selected, it'll collapse the menu here with the colors. And split tone. If you're not familiar with the split tone, it's not the easier feature to use in terms to make it work your image, but play with it. This is a great feature. It's available and it works great in Pictorial, and I use it from time to time, and it's a great option to have. So we're going to collapse this. We will go to the curves. You know, the curve, it's pretty basic, but again, very useful. If you drag only one corner, it will create an S by itself. If you right click on what you just did, that button is gone. And you can also drag the corners as well to change the contrast of your image. I should also mention you can selectively choose a color in there too. Okay, and retouch, we'll keep that to the end. We'll go to overlay right now. So Pictorial have a lot of different options for overlays, which is pretty awesome actually. I really like that you can choose from a lot of different options or bring your own image as well. And if you're not familiar with overlays, what that does is you can take a look at my image right now. If I bring the opacity up, you can look like somebody had taken this image and just make a big paper ball out of it and unfolded it. So this is basically how you would work with the overlay. Go around, change the opacity, change the size, the different like blending mode if you want here, and then find the one that works for your style of image you're trying to do. So it's a great feature to have actually. I'm very happy, and you can create new overlays by choosing your own image and then press create new, and then once you want to reuse the same image, it's possible. Another great tool and lots of depth, again, tutorial on those tools. Now the vignette, great vignette. You can actually change the color of a vignette. Just go around and then say I want a different color. I want the saturation of this color to be whatever you want. So this is pretty awesome. Not a whole lot of software offer this feature where you can actually change the color of your vignette. And a lot of different sliders as well for your vignette, which I really like. And now pretty cool is different type of frames. I really like this. You can really make some cool adjustment to your image. Very nice. You can make a bit of a Polaroid effect on your image and add this border. It looks pretty awesome. So again, another great feature that Pictorial added to its software. We're going to revert back to the vignette. And the watermark. You don't need to have another application to add a watermark on your image because it is available in Pictorial. So just go ahead. If you press the crop, you can change this location. You can make this smaller or bigger, whatever you feel like, right? And you can bring your own as well by choosing your image. So if you have a nice PNG file and you want to add your own there, it is totally possible to do that as well. Okay. And the retouch. The retouch is the tool is very important, and this is where Pictorial go one notch above a whole lot of the competition by adding a brush option. So let's say we're going to choose tone first. At the bottom left, you'll find a brush. You can erase what you've done. You can use gradients, so linear and radial gradients. As well, you can fill or clear the image of whatever change you do. So I'll press the plus button. If you press the plus button, it will revert something totally new. And I'm just going to cover this quickly so you guys understand what you can do with the brush. And then the size of the brush obviously can be changed here, or if you want. Another great feature of this software is if you take two fingers on your trackpad and go up and down, you can change the size of the brush very easily. And this is awesome because while you edit a photo, you need to change the size of your brush, and it is very quick and easy to do it this way. The feather, go around, change the feather. If you're not too sure what the feather does for you, I will go and put the feather at 0%, and I will click in the middle here. Let me just put the float at 100% again. Let's say I want to erase this. Choose the eraser, and it's gone. Okay, back to the brush. Press here. So see how this circle is well defined. If I do have 50% or so of feather, then you'll find it's going to be so much smoother on the edge. So that's what feather does for you. The flow, let's bring the feather back to 0. The flow at 100%, if I click one time, I get, well, let's click here on the beach. I click one time, this is what we have. If I press the flow at 50%, meaning that when I click once, it only applied the effect at 50%. So if I were to click twice, or a few more times, then it will bring that effect to 100%. So if you want to make a quick pass, bring that to 10% and just do a quick pass on the edge of this. You'll see that it is so much subtle than if you put your flow at 100%. The edges now. Let's just take the eraser again. We can erase this part here, and we'll put the flow at 100% for the eraser. Okay. Put the flow at 75% or so. The edges. Back on my brush. Okay. We have this boat here. So I want to only do my changes to the beach and not the boat. So Pictorial, I'm gonna add a 25% feather. Pictorial added this feature, which is awesome because it is hard to make a nice selection all the time. You gotta zoom in, go to the pixel, use different modes. But with the edges, if I take my brush and go around like this and try to only go on the boat, if I spill a little bit over, see, I'm trying to spill over the boat, and still I can't really choose the boat. Well, it worked on that side, but in general, Pictorial was intelligent enough to see that I'm trying to only paint the beach and not the boat. If you press O, the O key, it brings the black and white version. So basically what's white is what's been affected by the brush, and what's black is what's not affected by the brush. Okay. So you can tell here by the edges at 100% that Pictorial did a fantastic job at not selecting the boat when I was selecting the beach. Now let's erase this. You can work in this mode, by the way. Yeah, if I do erase this with my float print, the flow at 100% works better. So put the edge at 0%. We're gonna erase everything here, and then we're gonna try this again. Press O. Back to our brush. With the edge at 0%. Now see if I do the same pass here. Now the boat is selected very easily. If I press O, see there's no difference between the hull of the boat and the beach anymore. So this is how you can play with your brush, with the edges, and I find this mode very important when you do selection. It makes a big difference in my world anyway. Okay, so now if I go around and I take a look, there's 4 different dots there. So those are 4 different brushes that I use. If I do press on this one, I'll press O, so you see what I did with this specific brush. This brush I only work on the boat, and these are the changes that I made. If I go back to this one, this only affected the sky, and these were the changes that I made. And this one was the beach, and this one was the test one. If you don't like that one, it's like, oh yeah, no, I want to get rid of it. Press delete. Once you selected your dot, press delete, and it is gone all together. If you want to add a new point, if you want a new brush, you always come here and you press the add button and you have something new there. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to press add, and then we're going to go on this drop menu here. This drop menu, there's two more blends I want to talk about. The blend mode color mask and luminosity mask and the blend mode. So let's go with the blend mode. If you do add, let's say, clarity here. So all the options there, clarity is now added to it, and the blended mode got added to it. So whatever you press here, it will add to the list, the current list that you have here. So a lot of different blended mode, and this is present in a lot of different software. Great, you can do a lot of different changes with that. So for example, again, we'll take the exposure up, we'll go and make a little bit of a line there. So if you go to your mode and say you're going to do soft light, so see now things start to change with your actual brush that you just did. So you can change the blended mode. Now there's a lot to cover. I could do a tutorial on blending mode altogether, but just keep in mind that they are there. Okay, I'm going to delete this one, recreate a new brush, and then we will go ahead and choose the luminosity mask. So the luminosity mask is awesome, and I'll explain why I really like this. So let's say I want to work on the beach and only the beach, and then let's go ahead and what I'll do here, oh yeah, because I had this boat selected first, so let's just make a little thing here so I have this dot going. So I'm going to press this. Because I only use the boat, I will add a lot of exposure to this, so it's very bright. So it'll be easier to describe. And I'll go back to my brush here. Okay. This slider here, I'm just going to point out that Pictorial created a slider for luminosity mask, and it is fantastic. If you guys work with these masks before, you know they're complicated, they're hard to understand, and you got to create your own mask in Photoshop or use a panel that does that for you, and it's not user friendly. Now this is very user friendly. So this is one of the best features in my mind in Pictorial so far. Okay, so how it works, you have your brush, then you have something dark, something bright. So let's say you want to add a lot of temperature, you want to cool down, let's say you want this to become blue for whatever reason, okay? So you will tell Pictorial that you do not wish to work in the bright area of the image. You only want to work in the dark area. So there's that circle and that little bar. Bring that up. And now, with my brush, I'm going to go around and paint. It doesn't really matter how much I paint onto the boat. It's not going to get affected because it is bright. Okay? And if I were to change this around and decide, well, hold on, I want to go the other way around, then you're going to say, I want to use and work only in the bright areas and not the dark areas. So by doing that, maybe I went a little too far there, go around till it's only affecting this part, right? And then if I press O again, you can tell now only the bright areas are selected, or I go around and I choose only the dark areas. The bright areas are not affected by the changes. Okay, so that's how luminosity masks works. You can do very, very well defined changes without going to the pixels and brushes and stuff like that. This is a quick way to work with brushes. Okay, and we will delete this and bring this time the color mask. By doing that, a little wheel comes up with colors. Right now, if I do a change, it will work in any places, any color in the image. Now, I do have green in the trees behind, which we can't really see too much. So what I'm going to do is go around, press this, and I will bring the exposure up. No, it weren't. I didn't choose the trees. Okay, so what I will do first off is just make a new brush here, and I will just quickly go around so I reveal a little bit more of the green in the trees, and I will go bring that up. Okay, now I'll go back to my brush here, and let's say I made things clear everywhere. So if I only want my trees and the green to be brighter and not everything else, I'll go here and add this color mask, and I will tell software here is like, I want you to work only in the green tone. So I'm going to bring this slider and only select what's green in the tone. So I'll go around till I find a specific color. Here we go. So see, now there's no more of the sky that's selected because it's red and yellow and so forth. So if I bring this up, if I press O, see, only the green tones were selected into the image. So this is how you work with this. If I were to change this again, like everything is chosen, and then I can, refine my selection to only the green tones in the image. Great, great, great feature. Okay, enough of the tone. What we're going to do here is look at the patch. The patch is if you want to get rid of something like this boat, for example. I'm just going to do this. I will just paint over this boat here, and then I can slide this hand around and choose pixels to replace it with, and let's say I'm going to choose this, and now the boat is gone. So that's how you work with the patch. And if you want to, you can go back to this one and then change the healing, the feathering. So there's a lot of different options here you can actually play with to actually make selection better. So that's what the patch tool does. Now the smooth, it works better on portraits, so this is something you work with to smoothen the skin and stuff like that. I will also make another tutorial on how to edit the portrait in Pictorial, so I'll show you a little bit more about the smooth tool then. The sharpen, if you want to sharpen your image somewhere, let's say I want to sharpen this little outrigger, I can choose my brush again, go around, and I will go and do this. Now I can choose the fine details, make them sharper, or I like the coarse sometimes, give you a grunge look to your image. If you go overboard, it looks kind of weird, but there's different options, different slider for you, okay? Denoise, if you think there's a lot of noise somewhere, we're going to zoom in into, let's see here, and let's zoom in, is there lots of noise in there? Let's make this a little brighter, this maybe a little bit, but anyway, you just go around and paint your brush over the noise area, and there's different options you can choose from. Defocus, if you want to create a bit of a blur in your image, you can choose the actual linear gradient, works great, but the brush too. Let's say, I don't know, you want the actual wall, the sky to be blurrier for some reason, so you go around, and then the aperture you can change to f1 or f30, so you can make it blurrier, and the distance as well, so you can choose those two sliders and you'll be able to make a difference. Okay, so that's it. That's basically Pictorial in a nutshell. There's a lot of different things you can do with this editing software, which I really like, by the way. A lot of depth. It is quick. The actual engine of this software is fantastic. And again, for anybody using photos as a primarily base to actually have your image into and edit, there's so much more you can do with this. This is a fantastic software. The price tag is not that expensive. It's $60 Canadian on the App Store right now. If I like these changes, I can press save changes, and I'm back into photos, or I can cancel it because I don't necessarily want to have all these changes affected. You press done, and you're back to your gallery into photos. So these are a few examples of what I've done so far with Pictorial, if you guys want to see. So I have this wildlife photo. I add up a little bit of a softened gradient on the edges there. I sharpened the actual orca there. Great natural look. I did a little bit of a, I don't know, old school look to this image. I used limited mask to change the white bits in there. I changed the color a bit so everything kind of matched, and I added up a bit of the split tone to give that effect and a cool border. This one, I added up a bit of clarity, some sharpness, some smoothness into the water, sharpness onto the rocks, and play with the shadows on this part of the photo, so I have a little bit more just to look at, basically. A little bit more color, change the green tone so it's a little bit more vibrant. This one I haven't worked on yet. This one, I will make a tutorial how to edit this image because it worked fantastic with the masks, and it looks so sharp right now. And I haven't done much of this one else than playing with the shadows. That was a test I was doing here to see how much I could get out of the shadows and the details everywhere, which so far was pretty fantastic. And this portrait, which I will show you how to edit in another tutorial, but I played with the smoothness of the skin, I brightened the eyes, I played a little bit with the split tone again to add a little bit of cooler in the shades and a little warmer in the highlights of this photo. And that's about it. So far, I really like this software, and I would recommend anybody that want to work on an easy and fantastic looking software to give it a try. It is free to try, so give it a shot. If you want to, just purchase it for $60. So again, I can't stress enough that there's a lot of depth in this editing software and a lot of options, and it works great. So hopefully this answered a few questions you had about Pictorial. And again, there is a few more videos here if you're interested how to edit certain photos into Pictorial. So if you have any questions, any comments, leave them below. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel, to my journal for my blog, or you can visit my website as well. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.